Hello, and welcome back to a Wario Land Shake It, in which we're going to rock the range in Area 3, the Rocking Range. And as you can see, the area design is so simplistic. We just finish the first level, and then we can go straight to the boss room. I mean, it's just right there. It's so close. It should be easy for us to do that, but of course, it won't be that easy for us. We have to go around the world, the area, proceed from level to level to get to the boss room. It's not that simple. We cannot just enter that big top uninvited. We of course have to see what the 4 levels have to offer, and that may not be easy for us, but Wreck Train should be easy for you, because the missions for today are to finish before the clock hits 155, beat the stage without taking damage, and to collect 50,000 coins. So don't want to get your hopes up too high, but this is an episode I've been looking forward to for a while. There's 2 big reasons. The first one being Wreck Train being the glorious return of the train level. So train levels were kind of a thing in Wario Land, and by that I mean there was like 2 of them in Wario Land 1 and like 2 of them in Wario Land 2. Was there 2 of them? There might have been more. Who can say? Who knows the numbers? But in Wario Land 1, Wario Land 2, there were train levels, and they were great because trains are super cool and fun. They're good, and trains are cool, and it's nice that train levels have made a return. They've been absent since 2. They went on a little pirate siesta with Captain Syrup, but now they're back to kick some tail. Their coconut gun. Trains are neat. Trains are always cool in anything they're in. We have Wario Land. Oh, the ball came back, of course, because the ball loves Wario. It just wanted to come back and see what was up with him. Trains are cool. We Wario Land 1, Wario Land 2, some cool trains. But, there's other trains in other video games. And I was hoping I would think of some while I was trying to get to that point, because the only one I could think of is the XX Express, which, honestly, is the only one that we really need to talk about, because the XX Express is great. Nose Dozer, this is the first time we've really, properly seen these guys. We saw one in, during an escape sequence. I don't remember which level it was anymore. But, it's a good boy. I think it was in Savannah Valley, now I think about it. But Nose Dozer, it's cool. It's just a pointy boy who'll walk towards you menacingly and or just stand there from time to time. The ball will not come with us in between loading zones, so don't rely on the ball for that. There's a little engine here. You break it by throwing the ball at it. Even if you punch it and or tackle it, nothing will happen. Springs. The springs are pretty self-evident. You've played a video game before. You know what the spring does. You jump with it, you go higher. You ground pound it, you go higher. The fire, you go higher into the fire. It hurts, and then you miss out on your mission. But we're gonna try and not hit the fire. It's pretty simple. It's funny because I always forget which levels have these springs, and they use these springs. Springs? They're like pumps, but they're springs. They use them in a level later on that's kind of a little uncanny when they use it, but just because they end up looking weird in the level placement. But it's fine. It's fine because I want this ball to come down. Or, we can just jump up and grab it, and now I need to do the really uncanny thing of making the Wiimote point directly up so we can hit that point, throw the ball, and continue onwards to grab our item, our treasure, the hotter sauce, which is that's just a good treasure name. But yeah, trains, they're super cool. The XS Express, even if it was the only train in any video game, Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, it would be, trains in video games would already rule, because that's such a good level from such a good video game. Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, the best RPG ever made by a human being. And that's, once again, that's just knowledge. That's true. That's not an opinion. It's fact. It's just the way the cookie has crumbled for us today, and I'll just let the short fuse shoot before I try and jump up there and get shot by it. So trains are cool. I was a big train kid. As a kid, my first media obsession was Thomas the Tank Engine. Loved those damn little things. Cool little wooden train toy boys. They were fun. I liked them, and they were good. The short fuse is back. So I really like that. Back to the Future 3 was my favorite of the Back to the Futures. As a child, it was disappointing to grow up and become an adult and go, oh, the first one is actually kind of the best one. Not that 2 and 3 are bad, but 1 is just actually the best movie of those. I mean, whether it's the best movie or not, that's an opinion. But, you know, Wreck Train, it's a fun level. I always enjoy train levels, and especially when you get to the end of the level, I really like this little attention to detail. You get to the front, and you can see, like, the actual front of the train. You see, like, their little, like, cattle guard thing. It has a little Wario mustache. You shoot yourself up, and you come out the chimney smokestack thing of the train, and it's modeled to, like, be the shape. I really love little, like, attentions to detail like that. Now, I really do like Wreck Train because, like I've been saying, I like trains. I've kind of always liked trains. But we will have to play this level a second time, which maybe isn't so bad, because it means we get to come to Wreck Train once again. So, hooray. Because we will not be able to get all of the coins in this level. We won't be able to make the money requirement and do time. It's just, unfortunately, out of the realm of possibility. Like, we've already failed time. But we are well on our way to getting the money. And by that, I mean, we just need this diamond, and it'll all be good in the hood. We just turn around, just dive back down. Because I think it's like 155 we have to get out by, so it's like, you know, we're nearly 20 seconds short of the goal, so it's not like we were anywhere close, but we just got to do it again, and it's fine, because that means we get to do more cool train stuff, and I get to just kind of babble on about how trains are cool and stuff, I guess. Now, we all know Wario. Wario's our glorious anti-capitalist, Antifa super soldier that we all love. You know, he's a champion of the people. He loves all of the cool things that are good in the world and hates all of the bad things, and loves to steal the money away from the capitalists so he can just keep the money and hoard it Scrooge McDuck style. But unfortunately, you know, Wario's not much of a train guy. Like, trains are cool. He doesn't dislike them. You know, he enjoys his times on the train, but Wario, at his heart, is a car guy. He loves his Wario car, his purple Wario car. He loves to drive it. He loves to drive Putt-Putt, the other video game car. Putt-Putt grew up to become the Wario car, and they're friends, and that's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but we all have to grapple with the fact. But, you know, Wario loves his car, and his car, Putt-Putt, loves him back. Putt-Putt grew up to be a Cadillac, I guess. That was the entire point of that. Also, something I meant to mention, the music in that stage, I like it, like I like the rest of the music in this game. But the tracks are very Back to the Future-y, and that might just be, it has that train quality to it, the train motif, so perhaps it just invokes Back to the Future 3's soundtrack in my head, just because I've seen that movie a lot of times, because like I said, it was my favorite one as a kid. But oh shoot, I didn't read the missions. Finish before the clock hits 155. Beat the stage without taking damage. Collect 50,000 coins. So the exact same missions from Wreck Train. But now we don't want to touch any fossils, which will be difficult because we are in Dinosaur Town. And by that I mean Stone Tooth Cave. And oh look, what do you know? A Triceratops. Once again, the best dinosaur. We can continue onwards. You know, having seen the glorious form of the Triceratops, we can continue with a smile on our face and a song in our heart. So the mission for this, where it's like, hey, don't touch any fossils, freaked me out the first time I was trying to like complete missions in this video game, because when I came out here, I saw these things, these like spinal column that looks a lot like the Google logo, and that's probably just because of all the holes, and just because you're so used to seeing the Google logo like redone for their little like thing where they redo it for like holidays and like major events and junk. Once again, you know, the Thomas the Tank Engine media obsession be turned to media poison. You know, Google's got the grip on us. You know, everything's got to catch them all. You know, it's just the way our brains work now. You don't have to worry about that. It's specifically these like fossil blocks that you got to worry about. No, I actually need something to throw at that thing to reverse it. So the fossils can break. I could even pick up this guy, throw it at a fossil, and break the fossil. The mission is to not break any fossils. The mission is not to not break fossils. It's to not touch fossils. So as long as we're not touching anything, everything's Gucci. Like, oh, well, I missed the shot, which is unfortunate. But, you know, we continue on. Well, I was going to say continue onwards, but we're actually continuing backwards to continuously respawn this band of arrows so we have some ammunition. Because unfortunately for us, getting a guy up here, a little difficult. I just wanted to reverse that so we could mess with that in a moment. But there is something more important we must mess with first, and that is I gotta time this out so we don't hit any fossils. kind of taking away from the grand moment we're having, but it's the return of transformations. So there are transformations in Wario Land Shake It. I've been a bit mum on it because I didn't want to like, oh, where a transformation, because I know damn well where transformations are, so I didn't want to like rile anyone up and start unnecessary controversies, because it's important. But yes, there are transformations in Wario Land Shake It. They have seriously been pared down from previous Wario Land games. I believe this game only has like 3 or 4 transformations, depending on what you consider, transformation to be. There's always like transformations that are like, I'm not sure if I would count that one or not, but by my count, I would consider it either 3 or 4, as opposed to I believe Wario Land 4 had 10 or 11, if I recall, which is just me remembering notes from months ago at this point. Actually, over a year ago, I think, was when I played that. Whatever. And I think Wario Land 3 had 16? 14, 16? It's something like that. So they've seriously pared it down. And, I'm a little disappointed because transformations are the heart of the Wario series. Like, it's the mechanic, like, that really set it apart, and it's like so Wario-y. It's like, something bad happens to Wario, and then he changes. It's like, here's an interesting like video game power-up system that is unique to Wario, and really like helps define him as like this big weirdo who has weird things happen to him, and he makes it work for him, and it's good. And so it's a little sad to see it get pared down for over the course of the series. Although I would argue 10. Wario Land 4 didn't. Oh, look at this guy with a little helix fossil spinny thing as an eye. That's cute. Wario Land 4 didn't really pare them down. It just kind of, redesigned them and like got rid of some unnecessary ones, and et cetera, et cetera. They kind of just they redesigned them, as opposed to like, they pared down the number, but they didn't pare down the quality. Not saying that this one's bad quality or anything, but there are less in this game, and that's more of what I was saying. There's less, and you see them less often. Like, we're in World 3, and we've just seen our first transformation. Can I like no scope this? Oh my god, I no scoped it. That was cool. I did not think I was gonna be able to do that. So yeah, transformations just aren't that big a thing in this game, but they are present in the game, so it's nice. It'd be hard to be like, oh, Wario Land without the transformations. I mean, you could do it. It was done before, Wario Land 1 Virtual Boy. But it's just such a central Wario mechanic that'd be a shame to see it go. Now, I'm going to complain about this, and I'm not going to complain about this. What I'm going to say, first off, is I think it's smart. I'm gonna side with let's start with why I'm okay with this. I'm okay with them paring down the transformations because, we've had 3 Wario Land games that all have utilized these transformation mechanics. And you start to see some overlap between, like, the challenges. Like, there's, like, the slidey, like, Frozen Wario challenge that's in both 3 and 4. Actually, it's in 2, 3, and 4. So, you were starting to see, there's, like, where you get frozen, you have to slide by a bunch of enemies and just kind of utilize that. So, we were starting to see, like, setups and like arrangements be like reutilized. So like maybe it was a smart thing to kind of like, well, let's just pare them down and just keep them, kind of like a classic thing. Like, hey, they're in all these games, we can't just get rid of them. So maybe it was smart to pare them down. Just because we're starting to see a lot of like reused arrangements and such. Although on the other side, I would say maybe it would have been better to, instead of paring them down and just like keeping them as they were, because like Flaming Wario that we just used, which was unfortunately renamed from Hot Wario, although I think it was only Hot Wario and 2, and I think I've been complaining about that for like 3 LPs now, that it used to be Hot Wario and then they renamed it Flamin' Wario. Although and I've made this joke before, but I'm gonna say it again. Maybe the distinction was they renamed it, Flamin' Wario instead of Hot Wario, because all Waриos are Hot Waриos. And I've said that joke before, and I'll probably say it again, because that's who I am. I have 3 things to say, and they're all about Wario and his attractiveness. Not that Wario has other things he can do aside from being attractive. Oh, and there's something else I want to show in here before we leave. So I'm actually going to show this off before I make a point. Back in Whoopsie Desert, I made a big stink about like getting squished by stuff and how you needed to respect me. because I deserve respect. The reason I didn't want to get squished was because I didn't want to show Wario get. Well, I didn't want to show him get squished. Is basically it. And the reason for that is, Flat Wario doesn't exist anymore, and instead, there's kind of a thing similar to Flat Wario. Whenever you get squished by something, instead of taking damage, Wario gets squished and turns into a worm, and it's very cute, and I like it. Flat Wario is, a cool, good transformation, but it is nice to see, a kind of like nice replacement show up in that form, of just like a nice little animation. So transformations, I have a lot to say about them because they're kind of, like I said, Wario's big defining game mechanic. And I am fine for the most part. Oh, I might have needed that Bandanair. Oh no, we were able to hit that just fine. As long as I get out of the way, we don't touch the fossil, we're perfectly fine. We can continue onwards. I don't care that the fossil broke because all I really care about is I don't touch them, and I'll be good. So what I want to say about transformations is, while I'm fine with them paring down the transformations, you could also argue that maybe vehicles are kind of a sort of like a replacement for transformations. I mean, they're obviously not a replacement since they are in the game, but they kind of fall in that like, oh, we'll change up the game mechanic, or change up like the gameplay with like an altered mechanic, etc., kind of like you would a transformation. But what I would have liked to have seen, not that this game did it badly, because I do think this is a good game. What I would have liked to have seen is like maybe a reimagining on the transformation system, maybe have come up with like new powers, like, oh, here are different transformations that utilize the motion controls, or maybe retool the existing. Oh, and I shouldn't have come this way. That's fine. I'll just crawl through here. We got plenty of time to escape. As long as I don't touch a fossil, it'll be fine. Maybe retool transformations to utilize the motion controls. Not that I would want that, because a lot of transformations are pretty good and perfect as they are. But like, let's just say Nintendo has put their foot down, like, hey, you need to use more motion controls in the game. Instead of vehicles, like, they could have done things like Puffy Wario, you control it by tilting the thing, or Vampire Bat Wario. Although, while Puffy Wario could work because you only need to move two ways, so the tilting is very easy, Vampire Bat Wario would get annoying because then it'd be similar to the Subwalreen, where it's like, well, you got to control, two axes with the tilting, so then it would come down to like, well, I press up. Although it could work very well for Vampire Bat Wario, because then you would like press the jump button and kind of tilt your way that you want to go. So actually, Vampire Bat Wario, that'd actually be a pretty good fit. But like, I'm not the game designer. I'm not the one who had Nintendo breathing down their necks for, hey, make a Subwalreen and make it kind of the worst thing in the game. Even though I don't hate the Subwalreen, but, there's that. And I'll meet you back at the Murphle so we can keep talking about transformations. There's probably other things I was going to talk about in this episode, but transformations are the most important. Oh, also, just before we cut away, you can get squished by blocks and stuff. When I originally was like, oh, please respect me and don't get squished by the things, we'll talk about it in a moment. I was originally thinking I'd have to edit stuff in. I didn't realize there'd be so many good opportunities to squish myself in Stone Tooth Cave. So hooray! And then, even before I cut away, I'm just going to show you, I have no more respect for these fossils. Now that I've completed the mission, it's whatever. I'm going to stand on one, I'm going to punch it and break it. Now I'll meet you at the Murphle. Okay, so now we can get back to talking about transformations. By that I mean, oops, I should have looked at my notes to make sure that there's nothing we wanted to talk about. It's all transformations, baby. Although maybe we'll talk about the level for a little bit. So I really like the escape sequence where you use the max Fastosity Dasherators to get out of here, because I love breaking through the dinosaur's teeth. It's just very satisfying to just slam on through in a very, I guess, body horror-esque way of smashing some teeth open. But you go the way I went previously if you want to get all the money and coins and etc., and you come this way if you want to get out quick. And I think we need to get out in 155, so we only have a few more seconds to do it, but we're right at the end, so it's no problem. A lot of these times are pretty tight that you need to get out in. We only had like nearly 3 seconds to spare, but I don't know much about like that. That wasn't like too difficult or anything, so not much to complain about. But you go left and go down that pipe if you want to get money. You go right and take the max Fastosity Dasherator if you want to do time. So that's it. There'll be more transformation talk as we go through the video game. I believe I hit everything I wanted to talk about for this primer. Area 3 is an area I like a lot of fun levels. It's fun to come in here and you do a train and you go to Stone Tooth Cave and you're like, oh, a cave, whatever. This is fine. The music's bopping as always. But then it's like, oh, it's transformation time. Things are great. It's Wario. Thank you, Wario, for setting yourself ablaze and continuing to be the flamin' hot man we all know and we all love. And now it's time to read some treasures. Nope, not boss emblems. We have not defeated a new boss. We have, however, started a new area, so we skipped the bonus area thing. So we can come over here and read our treasures. Perfect disguise. No one will ever know it's you. That's kind of actually a pretty boring flavor text. Hotter sauce. Hotter than any normal sauce. No, hotter than that. Hotter. Keep going. Diamond light bulb. A light bulb carved from a huge diamond. You'll be sad when it burns out, though. Fossilized drumstick. You know what's tasty? Dinosaur meat. It's really hard to find it fresh these days. Kissing stapler. The first in a line of office supplies for lonely workers. Same. Oops, wrong way. Gold-handed bucket. Gold-handed... I already made that joke. How can you improve on the utilitarian design of a bucket with a big ol' hunk of gold? Yeah, all right.